Welcome to part 2 of the VanRocha podcast episode with Ingrid Oliu. In this episode, Ingrid shares with us 2 very distinct stories about mental health awareness, treatment, and assistance. We look forward to sharing with you her thoughts, her observations, spanning over 40 years in this subject, and we hope that it will have a positive impact on you, your viewpoint, and the way that you help others. Another part of what we want to add to this beautiful conversation, talking to you many times, Ingrid, you have a soft spot in your heart for individuals going through mental health crises and challenges. Can you talk about that?
Yes, I have a brother that's special needs, very long diagnosis. They actually came 4 days before my high school graduation in 1981. And my brother was 9. And one of the things that we experienced immediately was that he was having these episodes. If somebody was watching a TV, there were these triggers, police siren, but more of shooting would trigger my brother and he would just run. You just had to hold him down because he felt they were coming for him. Bandidos, whatever you want to call them, held them down at gunpoint, tied everybody up except my brother. And they were there to steal money because it was a farm, coffee farm, fruit farm. They knew there had been a delivery of coffee that day. It was someone from the inside said, yes, they have the money. It was a really bad time. My brother was traumatized from that and he suffers from PTSD.
What impressed me, we saw you early on in your career in the 80s with Stand and Deliver. You were helping your brother all that time.
Oh, since he came at 9, he was 9, we started that. We went, met a psychiatrist who said he was schizophrenic. That was the first diagnosis. I went and I picked up a book on schizophrenia and I read the book and I said, my brother is not schizophrenic. We just moved on somewhere else and we found better doctors. And no, he's not schizophrenic at all. He does have developmental problems that he had since he was a child. So much more came after that and so many things had happened to him. I shared with you with therapy. My brother was in therapy. I drove him to therapy for about 3 years, every Saturday. And I don't think he ever spoke, but we never gave up on him until therapy ended because of Reaganomics. His therapy did work. And even though he never spoke, his therapist for 3 years spoke to him, did exercises with him. Whether he participated or not, it was done. After that, he did go with other therapists that he did speak with when he was 16, 17, 18. 18 was like the breakout year where he finally came into himself and saying, yes, I suffered. I went through all of this, but I can now move on, or I have these tools to help me when I have issues. The only thing that he refuses up to now is medication. Because when he was young, he was overdosed at the hospitals with Haldol and all these horrible meds that they would try, where my brother would literally be with a tongue sticking out. But all I can say is that it works, but you have to work it. It takes patience and you have to believe in it. And I do. And now with the AI component, I'm excited. Okay. I wasn't excited. And now I'm excited because my brother will have someone there with him. And I know he's going to benefit from this.
That's a little plug for the Elomia app, right?
And I'll be using it too, for my anxiety. So yes, I'm excited.
Yes. And I love the way you described it too, but it's like any better tools, let's use it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Not even knowing that you need a tool, so yes, keep mentioning it and educating people. I have a cousin in Austin, Texas, who is a retired psychologist. And I was telling her exactly what we were doing and she was fascinated.
Your brother, when he met that therapist later on in his young adulthood, can you tell everybody what happened? I love that story. The therapist that he wouldn't talk to for 3 years.
I had a strong relationship with this therapist because the 4th Saturday was family therapy. And that's when I was allowed to speak more than 15 minutes. Because during his Saturdays, I could speak for 15 minutes and then I'd have to leave the room. And let me tell you, I was like, and
Oh, that's
because my mother never helped. Okay. That's the one thing about Latinos is that we need to educate ourselves so that we can support each other. He wasn't my son. He was my brother. But my mom just turned her back and she was like, I don't know. La, 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 la. Okay. This is how it was working at home. I took advantage of therapy. That's why I tell you that I know that it works. And I know that this man worked it, even though my brother would not speak. So years later, guys, we are in Costco. My brother is a man. And we just happened to recognize his therapist. David went on to work, someone that should have been, we thought was going to be taken care of. He went on a program and was given a certificate, janitorial. He still works today and has not been on the dole since he was 21. Okay, he's 52 now. So he tells, of course, the therapist, yes, and I talk, and I'm sorry that I couldn't talk to you then. He goes, I couldn't. He goes, but I know that you were there for me. Anyway, they went home and they spoke on the phone for 3 hours. And that to me was just a gift. And it was wonderful that the therapist was able to realize that he had done incredible work and that he didn't realize, that this kid had grown and stronger and is a true believer of therapy. And now with the Elomia, we're not technical, so we're getting help for the phones. But that's the only thing that's stopping us. And I have to get together with my brother this week or we're going on. It'll definitely help me too.
incredible. And that segues into the very important event of I wrote the name down, Vanessa, and that is something that really is part of you also. Can you tell us what happened and who Vanessa is and was?
Vanessa Marquez, one of the leading young actresses that we had from Stand and Deliver, went on to have such success. I mean, she was on ER. But for me, the best role she did was when she worked with Culture Clash. I think you could see it in the documentary. There's a portion of her singing a West Side Story where she's pregnant, and they did this spoof on West Side Story that was amazing. But she's able to not only show you what she did as an actress, but she's also singing, and she was just so talented. Somehow she hadn't been well, started to have a lot of problems physically and mentally, many varying things, but things that were getting worse, especially with her digestion. She just went through extremes. I don't think she ever addressed that. She had just been to a hospital in Pasadena and she had been mistreated. They were calling her crazy. They were telling her that she didn't have any problems and that she was just crazy and that she was making things up. She was having seizures. And they were saying that she was making up the seizures. When they walk into her apartment, she tells them, I am not leaving my apartment. I will not go to a hospital. I will not go to that hospital because they mistreated me. There's 30 minutes missing of the camera, police camera. South Pasadena police, they did, we don't know, to this day, we don't know what happened to that tape or why it's missing.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is that they were with her for 60 minutes and then they left and then they came back 30 minutes later and then she was dead. She did not get to have her day in court because her mother settled. She should not have made that decision. South Pasadena police won't have to account for it. I don't believe they've done anything to have someone with experience for mental patients. They're still not going out when there are calls coming in and saying that we need a mental health check.
Right.
They're still not available.
Right.
So there are people still dying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that story that you were part of, we're going to put a link to that documentary. It's so important to raise awareness about that.
We'll be playing on Amazon.
Wow. Okay. Well, we thank you so much for that work on that. That's just amazing. And for you to continue the memory,
That we will. That we, especially for me, because I have family with mental health issues, but the AI thing on the side, dude, it's like having a friend right here. And it's private. I had a husband that died. I had a daughter that died. Honey, let me tell you, I know.
Yeah.
So,
Using the app myself, for example, I had a certain issue, which I won't get into right here, but I could not separate the issue from another issue for the longest time. So I kept falling into the same trap all the time. And Elomia told me one day, the issue you have is actually two issues. It just told us that you are confusing the problem and you are making it one issue when it's two. And I'm like, what is this thing? And since I had that breakdown 6 months ago in my face, I have not had the issue being a problem anymore because I always remember it is two issues. And so it's not a one-stop solution. And it took a robot to tell me that.
now what I'll say is the only thing that my brother shared and the way that he saw what this experience will be, he says, I won't be judged. He's a man and he's very intelligent, but can easily be confused with making like to go buy something, you have to help him with certain things. But when he said that, I won't be judged, I just saw a child. I just saw a child and wanting privacy. But that was, he was just, I won't be judged. And I said, you're damn right. I said, yes.
We are so grateful Ingrid Oliu was able to sit down with us and share these wonderful thoughts, her observations, and also encouragement for all of us to take control of the mental health of ourselves and that of our loved ones. Thank you very much, Ingrid, and we look forward to hearing more about you and also how you will be tackling this issue in the months and years to come. You're a true leader and an inspiration to all of us. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time.